Hello, welcome to another part of the Wind Park series. In this video, I will share with you one of Brodmann's strategies that we provoked at the foot of smart money. Block order and block order again. We are going to show you step by step how to create a trading Instagram completely on any chart, with all the precise and mechanical rules that are necessary to write it. This setup starts from the point where we identify a black flower as a key area in the HDF top view. After that, when the price reaches that level, we will look for the return signals in the lower order term so that we can have a more optimal entry. Finally, on the way to our target, we will also follow the bulls that are made in the lower order term to increase our entry level. If you have learned the concept of smart money, the reasons for entering into a transaction and sticking to a trading plan are attractive to you. Be sure to like, and if you are new to our channel, subscribe to receive more lessons. Before we go to the training, there are two important points that we should know. First, everything you learn in this video can be used in the forex, share, or crypto market, because the par section is almost the same in all markets. And the second thing is that you must learn all the steps of setup completely before you find the backsets or enter into the real transaction. Because this trading plan is a systematic method that combines several different concepts to maximize the accuracy of your trading. Well, let's go to the main point of this strategy. It is implemented on three main time premiums. First of all, the daily premium time, where we do the general analysis of the market. We read the structure of the market, determine the number of one lady, and check how much market we have until we reach SODO. The second time frame is quarter of an hour. Here, we implement the concept of smart money to find the market direction of liquidity to value gaps and, most importantly, Urdu blocks. It means that there is a high probability for better setups. In the last neighborhood, we will go to the lower provider, a torch chart, to seek confirmation of entry and open our positions. Remember, this trading plan is not limited to any specific time frame or chart, but you must use several time frames so that you can better understand the general conditions of the market and have a more complete analysis. The first stage of analysis in the high temperature and the high temperature. The goal is to understand where you are in the overall picture of the market so that we don't enter into a transaction just seeing the four low temperatures. In order to keep the working process of the plywood board, we only specify the number of gladi in the above form and measure how much space we have until the price reaches the next important level. But what are the characteristics of this Goldilocks? These are some of the important measures that are determined based on projection. Candles with opposite colors. If you look closely at shad, you will notice that in a movement of this pulse, a candle of the opposite color, for example, a red candle in the middle of the Saudi movement, often acts as a strong support or resistance. Big traders and financial experts usually consider these factors as a starting point for setting up their entry plan. That's why we always brand this frankincense, especially for our high profit, and we expect a reaction from them. If you are to heed our azimuth money, one of the first things that you should look for is the gape. But why is it so important? Because this is an inescapable noise that big players enter the market and drive down the price. Usually, the market returns to this end to fill the remaining orders, and if there is still an order left, the price is usually pushed back to a rejection, multiple reactions, or a rejection of the price in a retest. Several price reactions from a certain level show that the tillers repeatedly react to that level, and this makes that area stronger. But this does not guarantee in any way that it will be maintained. When the price reaches a certain level, we must closely monitor the behavior of the price to see what is really happening. If these reactions become weaker over time, the probability that the price will break that level will continue to increase. But if the price returns to that area and does not return again, that level will be considered as a strong support. The main structural level of the market. A major structural level or major level of market structure is formed when these three conditions are met. It has been marked several times by the price. It has acted as a support, and the last three counterpoints have been respected by the market, which means that the price has responded to it. If these three excesses occur at the same time in the case of a charity, that charity is considered a powerful structural region, and the price reaction is expected to be very high there. The more these factors are seen, the more likely the price will return to that level. By specifying this key SODO on the upper side of the form, we can better identify how much room we have for trading before reaching the next important level. A very important point, the most important way to profit from the market is to trade in the empty space of the time form above. What do you mean? Let me explain with an example. Suppose this simple line chart shows our daily time form. Closer to this level is the key area in the price path. So as long as the price does not reach that area, we have a lot of open space to make safer transactions. Why are these situations important? Because most of the price manipulations and fake moves, gel movements usually happen around this key tone. So, we can safely enter buying positions, because in terms of technical analysis, there is no important level in front of the price movement that we are not. But the conditions are different on a key node. In these areas, we are usually faced with complete failures of thought and attempted movements before the market really goes in the direction that is expected. In other words, most of the manipulation or the same manipulation happens exactly here, so that the traders who are trading according to Soto's support and countermeasures get hurt. After these manipulations, the market enters the proof zone very quickly, so that it does not give me money back, nor does it give me a good opportunity to enter. So, the conclusion of this section is very simple. In order to increase your level of success in trading, try to trade more in the empty space between the important brightness in the top order. Now that I'm done talking about it, it's time to go to the 4-hour session and implement SMC or smart money concept on the market. In this section, we want to examine the structure of the market in order to understand the direction of the market, determine the noise, remove the idiosyncrasies, and most importantly, find the ones that can be the best way to enter. The first thing we have to do is to identify the direction of the market. Aligning with the strength of the market pattern greatly increases the probability of success of our transactions. In order to understand the direction of the market, I look for 3 things: structural failure, boss, soul change, character tension, return ergos. If you cannot clearly identify the direction of the market in a certain time frame, the best thing to do is to go to another gauge or symbol. Because trading in a market that does not have a clear trend is equal to making weak and small decisions, so wherever you see a trend, change it and go to the market where the trend is more transparent. When we are analyzing, we consider the level of support and industrial competition as a source of liquidity, especially the peaks and troughs of the competition. Especially, these consecutive highs and lows were identified as the key signs of liquidity. But why is it important to identify liquidity on charts? Volatility is one of the main factors in depicting the movement of prices. The most important thing that we must understand is that the market tends to move towards the Soto, where the volatility is inside. On the contrary, the market usually moves away from the Soto, where the volatility has recently gathered. Now, with this point of view, taking Nagangi before reaching the optimal trading areas can be a further preparation so that the price can make the movements we want in the market. These noise levels can cause sharp declines in the price, so it is better to take some profit before the price enters this noise. The last step is to convince FBG and Ardar Balakarsh that they are the same as our transaction gold. In addition to this, we consider the candle that created this FPG as black orb because 30 trading decisions have been made here. This phenomenon is an imbalance in buying and selling, where the buying pressure is significantly higher than the selling pressure, which is at least due to the activities of financial institutions. When the market enters this inflationary phase, it usually returns to FBG to fill it. A protective method is to wait for the price to go black, then open the position. An even more cautious method is to zoom to the lower level, look for reversal adjustments, and then trade. The final step of this trading program is to look for corrections and execute the trade in the lower narrow frame after we wait for the price to enter our final trade. We need to see some kind of correction that shows that the downward trend of the short term is over, and the price can move up. To identify this return to liquidity, the ergos of sweeping liquidity and changes in the market structure are carefully considered. A liquidity sweep below the lowest recent limit is a possible reversal, and if the price breaks above the recent highest limit, there is a change in structure. When the reversal is confirmed, I will execute the transaction. We wait for the price of black flower to develop. That's why the strategy is known as black flower inside black flower. But we have to mention this point that the black camp in the lower time format does not necessarily have to be inside the black camp in the higher time formats. After identifying the block order in the lower form, We set our own purchase order at the beginning of the end of the block order and set the loss limit. Because of that, for the first objective, we turn the trade into negative and close half of the position. When the price reaches the target on the day, the next target is the first important area in front of the price in the upper limit. Before we get into the real examples of the chart, we want to explain a few common scenarios that happen on the chart and how to deal with them. The first scenario is that we have a very small earth block area. When this happens, we have to offer to use a larger area as a loss limit because we want the loss limit to be protected from market volatility. On the other hand, if we have a larger tube and block in the lower film time, the problem that arises is that if we set the particle limit below these tubes, we will have a large particle limit. In this condition, we can use a smaller trachea because RD is the limit of poison. Or we can put our army in the middle of the trachea. This approach should improve our fine to reward ratio significantly. We will trade all RD blocks that produce the highest yield. If this RD block name is half as small as a reasonable reward, I will trade for less. So, never reset more than 2% of your capital in one transaction, and you should never have more than 3 active transactions at the same time. Remember, our focus is on achieving a positive result at the end of losing trades. In the 1-hour chart, you can see that the market is in a very smooth profit flow, so we are only looking to buy this pair. The last move of the market has created several fibrillators, so the candle is identified as a trading zone before this infection. The general idea is to wait to see the price come down. After that we can zoom to the lower price to get the adjustments and enter into the purchase transactions. But first of all, let's check our website and see if our analysis is in line with the overall picture of the market or not. We can see on the daily website that the market has recently broken an important resistance level to the top, which is undeniable that the buyers are in control of the market. Interest on this still has a lot of room to move before reaching the next important level ahead of price. So our hourly analysis is right with the daily analysis. So let's zoom in on the candlestick chart. In this time frame, the market has already made a change in Rwanda change of character, which is the signal of long-term Rwanda consolidation that we were looking for. This shows that the downward trend of the commodity has ended and now we can enter into buy transactions. After this, we just wait for the price of RD blocks to sweep and enter into buy positions. Now that the market is moving up, we can see that another high level will be created. Without making the first transaction, I will open another high-level transaction. This point is very important because the correction of the price to the first black camp is not guaranteed. It is possible that the market of the second black camp may be moderated and start to move higher. In the worst case, the price may work and activate 2 more transactions. That's why we have to enter the transaction with a smaller amount. Now let's see what happens. The price of stables hits the second transaction and the first transaction is activated. I will see another block again. So let's open the first transaction or another buying position in this word black. We will continue this process to reach our goal, which is higher than the previous ones. This strategy is proven to be profitable. But be sure to do your own research before trading with real money. This is the reality of the market. No matter how good your trading plan is, you will face many losing trades. That is, time does not mean that your analysis was wrong. The key point here is that you should write your own rules and always follow them. As long as you stick to the 3-tone management plan, everything should be fine. Well, friends, that's all we wanted to share with you in this video. I hope it was useful for you. If the video was useful for you, please give it a like and support us. And if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We are waiting to see you in the next episode.